Hi, this is Bill Seaback. The channel is called Resellers Over 50. I'm actually a reseller over 60. And it's a Saturday. It's about 8:20 in the morning here in Southeast Florida. It's only about 85 right now, but it's probably going to be 95 pretty soon. And I'm driving to my closest flea market, which is probably about 5 or 6 miles from where I live. And I want to talk about sourcing, super important in your reselling business. In fact, you don't really make the money when you're selling. You make the money when you're sourcing. The idea is to buy items as cheaply as possible and sell them at a reasonable market price to make the maximum amount of profit that you can. So your purchasing is absolutely critical to your success in the reselling business. You can make a lot of profit in your local sourcing efforts through garage sales, of course, estate sales, Craigslist, Facebook, eBay. Of course, you can buy and resell items right off of eBay or Amazon or any of the other 12 prominent platforms. And you can also find flea markets. Flea markets are tremendous opportunities to buy bulk quantities of items in almost any imaginable category. And we'll talk about the eBay categories in another video, but I'm principally a clothing and shoe reseller. I sell new and used. When I started my eBay business, I started 100% pre-owned items, and I started very simply with items around the house. And you can do that too. I started with jewelry that it wasn't using anymore. Watches. I remember selling a few watches and some jewelry items. And then I went through my closet and I started to pull out clothes I hadn't worn in a year, I had grown out of, couldn't wear because I got too fat. And my clothes, like probably your clothes, are pretty good shape. No stains, no rips, no tears, and just iron them and photograph them and list them. And every one of the items that I sold or put up for sale on eBay from my own clothing wardrobe sold on eBay in pretty quick fashion. So starting from home is probably a very logical place and opportunity for those of you who are over 50 and you want to get started in your eBay business. I highly recommend it. Now, I tend to specialize in men's. Of course, many of you are going to be women. So sell what you know and then learn what you don't. Sell what you know, learn what you don't. So if you have a huge closet at home, ladies, go through that thing. Separate stuff out. You haven't worn something in 6 months and you'd like to, or you need to turn it into cash, take it out of the closet and get ready to list it on your eBay platform. So when you go to a flea market, you want to be able to go to every bin, every stall, every store. My local flea market, which I'll show you in a few minutes, has actually fixed structure stores that you can walk into, some with air conditioning, some without. And they also lease tables or stalls, some covered, some uncovered. So you have a really nice mix of types of vendors, just home vendors and professional vendors and everything in between. And so when you go to your flea market, depending on how they structure it, doesn't really matter that much as long as you're willing to look at the deals and touch a lot of items. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going down to touch a lot of items and try to find some deals that I feel like I can sell to my customers on eBay. Now, as a clothing seller and a shoe seller, that's kind of my primary focus. Now, I'm also very open to looking at other categories where I feel like I can sell them and know enough to sell them quickly on eBay. I'm not what we'd call an everything seller. I used to be, and then I niched down to the clothing and shoe category. My personal interest and my comfort level is there, and I enjoy it. But I look at all deals as I'm going through a flea market, not just clothing, because there could be other things that, like jewelry, for example. There'll be a lot of jewelry sellers there today, probably electronics sellers there today, and a variety of, I know that there's one store that just handles Disney products. So Disneyana will be there in full swing today. And then you have your knives and gun collectors, fishing companies, fishing resellers, specialty sports, and then, of course, lots of women's. I don't really get into the women's all that much, but I'm certainly capable of, you know, looking at and pulling the top 25 or 50 brands that I feel I can resell if I'm in the mood to buy women's. And so I would encourage you to find your local flea market. Some of you might be lucky enough to have several. And it's always just a wonderful experience. And I tend to go a little bit earlier than other folks just because the heat is so tough here in Florida. And it's pretty humid. You know, we're close to the ocean, so humidity is kind of high, and it can be sweltering heat. Not like Arizona, where I know they're routinely having 118-degree days, but you know, it'll be high 90s here today, I'm sure. So I want to get in and get out as quickly and as efficiently as possible, and that's the story today. Just looking for deals, and I will follow this up very quickly with sort of part 2 as I get go down to the parking and get into the facility to show you some actual the booths and what they look like in my local flea market here. And that's it for now. This channel is called Resellers Over 50. You can DM me if you have any questions or comments you'd like to make. At Resellers Over 50 is the DM on Instagram. And I'll talk to you soon.